My name is Anabonita Martinez, and for my Renewable Energy and the Environment class project, DSARI, or Do Something and Report It, I did a home energy audit. I did this by using a kilowatt meter to measure 8 household items' energy use and then use that to estimate how much they use per month. So a little bit of background. We all contribute to energy consumption, and this varies. It depends on our geographical location, structural features of the buildings and homes that we're in, the equipment style, and the efficiency of those, as well as where we actually get the energy from. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, the average household uses about 21.8% of the total energy used annually in the household. The United States Energy Information Administration states that half of the energy in the household is used just for heating and cooling, while the other half is for items such as lighting, refrigerators, TVs, and everything else, including the items that I measured in my project. For my home energy audit, I purchased a kilowatt meter from Menards and used it to measure variable and constant power devices. I personally unplug my devices when I'm not using them to try to save energy, so I considered some of these constant power rather than variable power. Additionally, I added my name to my meter so that you can tell that it is my original photos. The first item I measured was my bedroom light, and the second was my cell phone charger, which I used for about 2 hours at a time. The third item that I measured was my microwave. It starts out at 1.3 watts, which is its phantom power as well, and goes up to 1447 on average when it's in use. The fourth item is my coffee maker, and I included a 10-second run which shows it going from 11.5 to 1406 watts. It has a phantom power of 0.4 when it's not in use. The fifth item that I measured was my refrigerator, which uses variable power. I measured it for 18 hours and 11 minutes, in which it used 0.91 kilowatts. So then I divided that up and found out that it uses 1.2011 kilowatts per day. This item was my hair dryer, which uses constant power, which typically is only used for about 15 minutes. The seventh item measured was my toaster, which uses variable power. And last but not least, my laptop charger, which I considered constant power since I unplug it when I'm done, and I only typically use it for about 6 hours a day. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the calculations. My method for each item was to measure it for a certain amount of time to find out the watts or kilowatts used, and then multiply that by the amount of hours used per day. That gave me the total amount of energy used per day in kilowatts, which I then multiplied by 31 to find out the monthly energy used by each item. The calculations for the variable powered items had to be done a little bit differently since they are used for 24 hours. For the refrigerator, I measured the kilowatt hours used, divided that by the amount of time I measured to find the hourly, and then multiplied that by 24 to find its daily use, and then again by 31 to find its monthly use. The microwave, coffee maker, and toaster had to be done a little bit differently as well, since they use different amounts of energy when they are in use, such as when they're making coffee or toasting, versus when they are not in use and using phantom power. So I estimated the amount of time that they are doing each of those things and then added them together to find their daily kilowatts used, and then multiplied those by 31 to find their monthly use. After adding up all of my calculations, I found out that I used a total of about 74.934 kilowatts per month with these 8 appliances, and my top energy users were the refrigerator, microwave, and coffee maker, and the least were the cell phone charger, bedroom light, and toaster. In terms of energy, the greatest amount of energy was used in the kitchen, and variable powered items tended to use more energy because they also contribute phantom power. Constant power items had a high wattage but were used for less time, therefore less energy was used. I wanted to take a look at my Dakota Electric statement and compare the 8 appliances that I measured to see how much they contributed to my total energy use, and found out that they only use about 12.125% of my total per month. After doing this presentation, I learned quite a few things, one of them being that most of the energy used in the household is used in the kitchen, and that anything that is used to change temperature has a high wattage. Also, not all electronics and appliances have phantom power, which I was surprised about because I thought anything plugged in would be using power. And lastly, tracking energy and measuring these items was not only informative, but also kind of fun.